In this video, I'm going to cover the 5 habits of elite basketball players. If you want to get to the highest level of the game, if you want to maximize your potential, you need to be doing these 5 habits. And all of the players at that level that you guys want to get to are doing all of these. So the very first thing is they're constantly finding ways to challenge themselves. So not in the way that you guys just normally think, hey, I'm going to go through a workout, I'm just going to go hard. No matter what the situation. So say I give a drill to a player, right? An elite player is going to think, okay, how can I make this as realistic as possible? How can I make this as difficult as possible? They take the initiative to be like, I want to do this in the right way. Now, a normal player, I give a drill, they just do what I say. They just do the drill and they do it as easily as they possibly can just to accomplish it, check a box, and then move on. So say, for example, okay, we're working on finishing. They're just going to make the layup. An elite player is going to say, okay, I'm going to try to stretch my arm out as far as I possibly can to really challenge myself and make it more realistic. They had that initiative. Okay, we're working on finishing. They're not just going to work on finishing, do what they normally do, go through the motions. They're going to say, okay, that's a little bit too easy. I need to challenge myself. I'm going to try to hit top corner of the backboard. I'm going to try to put as much spin as I can on it. All elite players, they just have that natural tendency to, okay, how can I challenge myself in this situation? If they're playing one-on-one against somebody, they're in the gym, they're playing 2-on-2, competition's not that good. Average player is just going to win, is just going to get a bucket however they see fit. An elite player is going to say, okay, how can I challenge myself? I'm going to work on my left hand. How can I get better in this situation? How can I get something and maximize my time that I'm putting in here? That is one of the #1 habits of elite players across really any endeavor. So it's really the distinction between just checking a box, going through the motions, doing the drills for the sake of saying you did them, versus, okay, how can I get the absolute most out of everything that I do? Now, #2 is they all have a detailed plan and a schedule. The average player just goes with the wind. They just go with the flow. Hey, I'll just go into the gym when I feel like it. When I get into the gym, I'll just kind of figure out what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do, you know, the stationary ball handling, the spot shot, play a little bit of one-on-one, and that's good enough. Now, elite players, they don't do that. They know, first off, what I need to be working on this offseason and why. Like if you ask an elite player, all of the high-level players that I train, they come in, I'm going to say, hey, what do you think you need to work on? And usually I'll just ask this as a test. I usually know they're going to say, hey, I really got to work on going to my left. You know, during the season, I tended to go left. I would turn the ball over really more so than I would on my right. I need to work on my pull-up going right because I missed 10% more shots going to the right than I did going to left. Like they'll tell you exactly what they need to work on. Average player, hey, what do you want to work on? I don't know, a little bit of shooting, a little bit of ball handling. That's their plan. And then when it comes to the actual schedule, hey, when are you going to work out tomorrow? I don't really know. I'll kind of see what happens. You ask an elite player, hey, what time are you working out tomorrow? Oh, I'm working out at 4 o'clock tomorrow. I got this workout and then I'm going to go here and I got this workout. Then I got PT at this time. Boom. They know their schedule. Same thing. I have these players coming for the summer. Hey, what's the schedule going to be like this summer? I want to lock that in so then I can plan everything else I need to plan. Again, average player, hey, I got to go to the beach today. I'll work out tomorrow. I'll do this. They just go with the wind. They go with the flow, as opposed to these elite players. They have a plan. They know exactly what they need to work on, why they need to work on it, how they're going to actually improve it. And they have a detailed schedule of, okay, I'm going to be doing this at this time, and then they build everything else around that. #3 is they value taking care of their mind and taking care of their body. Now, some of you guys are going to say, oh, you know, I know elite players that just eat whatever they want. Yeah, but they're not maximizing their potential. They could maybe be a league guy, but they're going to stay D1. They're going to go overseas instead of going league. Maybe they're a D2, D3 guy and they're really good, but they don't take care of their body. They don't pay attention to their sleep. They don't recover. They don't lift. So they go D2 or they go D3 instead of going D1. So don't compare yourself, or don't say, hey, I know this one exception, so I don't need to do that. You're not the exception. You need to follow the general rule. Elite players at the highest level, right? NBA, they all have nutritionists. They have people that they consult with in terms of their sleep. They have psychologists on hand 24/7. That is the competition that you're competing against. That's what they have. So if you want to get to that level, you need to be doing that on your own. So elite players are going to value that. They're going to value, what am I putting into my body? How am I recovering? Am I getting my PT? Am I getting my treatment? Am I doing really everything that I possibly can to maximize, even if it's just 1%, right? The average player is not going to think about what I'm eating in the morning. The average player is not going to think about what I'm drinking. Oh, I'm just drinking water. Doesn't matter. Elite players are going to say, okay, I want to make sure I'm getting the proper electrolytes during my workout so I can get a 5% better workout. I'm going to do that every single day over the course of years. It's going to make a big difference. They value, okay, I'm going to go to sleep at the same time every single night. I'm going to wake up at the same time every single night. I'm going to make sure my room is dark. I'm going to make sure I'm not on my phone until 2 in the morning, right? Elite players are going to do these little things that are going to make a difference that just the average player is not willing to even think about or even consider. So if you want to maximize your skill, if you want to maximize your career, your longevity, your health, elite players are going to value their health. They're going to value everything they put into their body. They're going to value how they're recovering, their mind, all of that. You as the average player are just not willing to do. And that's why they're going to get further ahead, have a longer career, and make more money ultimately at the end of the day. #4, which I actually got from my boy Manny. So if you're watching this, appreciate you. He plays over in Chile right now, plays pro in South America. And I asked him, hey, what do you think are 5 habits of elite players? I had a list. This is kind of, you know, the list I'm narrowing down. And this is one of the ones that he said. And he said being able to think critically and make adjustments in games, which is 100% true. The average player is just going to go into the game, not really pay attention to what's going on, not really react. They're just going to say, hey, this is my game. This is what I'm going to do. They're going to do the same thing regardless. They're going to score in the same way. They're going to attack the same way. Their strategy is the same. They don't necessarily have the IQ or really pay attention to, okay, how am I going to adjust? This player or this team is guarding us in this way. This is where I can get some shots. Okay, my shot's that's not necessarily falling here, I'm not going to take it personally and get all down on myself and whine and moan. I'm going to say, okay, how can I provide value to the team? I can get assists, right? I can get more rebounds. I can play better on the defensive end. I can help my other players, right? There's a lot of things that you can do to make in-game adjustments based on what the team's doing, based on how you're playing, and the best players can do that, right? Average players, they may have good games, but they're average because they don't know how to have consistently good games, because when they're shooting bad or they're just off that day, they have a really bad game. So the best players can adapt. Even when they're not playing their best, they'll provide a lot of value, and that's ultimately what makes them good or elite players. So your ability to have a high IQ of actually being able to analyze the game, see what's going on, the runs that the teams are going on, how the other coach is trying to guard you or guard the team or guard players on your team. You're seeing these certain patterns. You tell your player, hey, I'm noticing this pattern. Next time that happens, slip, I'm gonna hit you, boom, we get a lay. That's what an elite player can do. They use not only their body and their skill set, but they can use their mind to get the absolute most out of the game, provide as much value to their team. And that's at the end of the day what makes somebody an elite player, not just what they can do on their best days. Point number 5 is elite players constantly surround themselves with players who are better than them, coaches, mentors who are smarter than them that can provide value and knowledge to help elevate their game. Just like how they say, hey, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around, you're the average of the 5 players that you work out with the most. So the average player or below average players are always going to want to find, just the people that they're friends with or people that are really the same level or worse than them, so that way they can always win. They can, feel good about themselves, like, hey, I'm a good player, I make shots, I'm winning one-on-one game. That's great, but that's not really elevating their game. The same thing is true with trainers. They're just going to go work out with whoever. They're going to get advice from whoever. Hey, this old head at the park tells you this. Okay, that must be true, right? Versus elite players are going to deliberately seek out, hey, I want to work out with this player. A lot of the guys that I train, the higher level guys, they always say, hey, I want to get this guy in the gym because he's doing things the right way. He has a good attitude. He's a great player. I want him to come into the gym so I can be challenged. Versus elite players are just, whoever's in the gym, whatever, doesn't really matter, right? Versus elite players, again, they're very deliberate with that. Same thing with who they train with. They analyze, okay, this guy works with this guy, this knowledge, okay, that's actually good stuff. I want to go work out with him. Or this mentor, I'm actually going to listen to this guy. I want to seek him out because he can give me a lot of knowledge, even if it's just in one specific area, right? You can have somebody in terms of strength. You can have somebody in terms of the mindset and things like that. You can have someone in terms of the diet. And each of these areas, they're seeking out just a little bit of advice, just something that can give a little bit of a nugget that can give them a little bit of improvement in that one area. And they're going to do that in a lot of different areas. It's going to make a very big difference. So at the end of the day, if you have all 5 of these habits and you can implement them over the course of this next offseason, maintain them for a couple years, you're ultimately going to be reaching your potential. So if you're one of those players who I just mentioned, who has all 5 of these habits and you want to elevate your game, I'm looking for 5 people where I'm going to hop on a call with you. We're going to break down your season. We're going to break down, this is what the offseason is going to look like. Here's exactly what you should do. And I will help you with that entire process. And it's not going to be free. It's not going to be cheap. But again, the people who are watching this, who are actually, maintain these 5 habits, they're not people who are cheap. They value the product. They value the information that I can give them, just like I was saying in the video. So if that's of interest to you, I will drop in the link down below for you guys to apply to that. If not, if you guys just want a general plan for the offseason, we also have that down below, our offseason transformation program. So if you like this video, drop a comment, drop a like. We appreciate it. See you guys in the next video soon. Peace.